So while we were obsessing over a Texas pool party, this story broke. Hackers nailed the Office of Personnel Management and stole information from millions of Americans. This is bad because the OPM performs federal background checks and dispenses security clearances. These hackers just won the spy lotto, making Snowden look like Snow White. They got social security numbers, health records, addresses. If you're an employee with a past, you're now at their mercy. If a spy wants you to steal files from work, all he has to do is dangle that brief affair you had with a llama back in '87. We all have skeletons. Some belong to llamas. At some point, we're going to have to declare stigma amnesty. If something bad is leaked about you or me, let's just ignore it, because it's going to happen. For we punish no one for such behaviors. We publicized Sony's hacked emails. We joked about Jennifer Lawrence's hacked photos and elevated to hero status a wonk who grifted 900,000 documents from the Pentagon. We don't follow spying because we're too busy attacking ourselves. Christian bakers, Washington Redskins, Hobby Lobby. These are the identity spats that China thanks us for. While petty divisiveness distracts us, we lose track of yet another real adversary. Race, gender, class, as we quarrel over identity, someone just stole all of ours. But hey, if a cop had done it, maybe we'd march. Katie, I'm going to go to you first because it's been a while. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
You look great.
Thanks.
All right, that's enough. KG. Okay, so this story.
Thanks, Greg.
This story is an amazing story, but there are no good pictures of computer hacking, so nobody really cares, right?
No, it's true. So for television, we need things like video and photos.
We have no pictures.
What an amazing graphic we have here.
Here's the hacking, guys. This is what it looks like. Yes, there it is. I'm glad that we're covering it, so I guess we'll talk about the details here.
Yes.
No, but it is a serious thing. Intelligence officials are saying this is the worst it can get. We're talking about 14 million people. The government, of course, said it was only 4 million people. We're not just talking about social security numbers. We're talking about information about, your family, maybe your friends, who you know. So the information that they have now, they know who you're associated with. And the other thing, too, is that they were warned about this happening.
Yes.
Granted that the government was warned a year ago, hey, you might want to put in some encryption codes to prevent this from happening. They failed to do so, which implies to me that as a whole, our government has gotten really complacent when it comes to national security. We live in a world now where American government officials, and especially the leadership, think that the world is a nice place and that we don't have to really worry about protecting ourselves against enemies that do exist. So they're just the Chinese. We work with them all the time. We don't need to worry about them. But essentially, while we're worried about, as Greg said, the things that are happening here at home, we're ignoring the fact that we still have very serious enemies around the world, and now they have all of this personal information they certainly will use against us in a very bad way.
Yeah. Eric, May 2007, a VA employee left his place with a government laptop. Bush got blamed for that because it had all these patient records. This is amazing. Is it because it's President Obama that it's not as much press?
I think it's big. I think there's going to be press. I think that once some of the information starts to leak out what they have, like the Sony hack, when we started reading the actual emails, everyone wanted to talk about it. The pictures, obviously, everyone wanted to see. But there's some breaking news, Greg. Al Sharpton, he's organizing a march in D.C. Hands up, don't hack.
Oh, that's
Mayor de Blasio has decided to talk to his son and said if he's warning him about offensive or aggressive Chinese emojis. Chinese are all going to resign because they're worried about Al Sharpton blowback. Here's the thing, though. Defense wins championships. A good offense is beat by a good defense, always. We're so busy aggressively going after other people's stuff, in some cases Americans, innocent Americans, that we're not fighting the fight defensively. Put the walls up. Get the better walls. There's no reason the Army website should be hacked. There's no reason 14 million Americans have information, as Katie points out, not just their social security numbers and phone numbers, their personal lives are being outed now. Everything they do, whether they drink, whether they smoke, which doctors they see. You're right, Greg. This is the absolute lotto for spy information. Bribery. There's going to be massive bribes.
Yeah, because John Schindler is a really good writer at Daily Beast, said that this will go after Juan. They'll be going after our counterintelligence agents. Let's say if our spies are doing something, they will have stuff on our spies because they went through the security checks. So they can't spy anymore because they'll be blackmailed.
You ever see The Americans?
Yes.
Which is a good show.
Yeah, it is.
And so in that show, they do stuff like this. They get information, and it's the basis then from which you turn the spies for the other country. So, I mean, that's potential here. But to your larger point, I think if we had a movie made about it, Greg, like The Interview, then we could get more attention for this story. We just need some stars, and we need some racist emails like the ones that Sony had.
Yeah.
Or if you had, how about credit card numbers? Now here, every American would start screaming if this was Target, and the idea was, hey, somebody's going to get my credit card number and go shopping for Kimberly's white dress. Then people would be really like, wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
By the way,
The one I'm wearing?
Yes.
That's on me now.
interesting point. The Target CEO got fired over that. Should President Obama be impeached?
Yes, I think that finally I've been waiting 6
was a
minutes
softball.
into the show. My gosh, thank you for that layup. All right, listen, so here's the big problem. It's the Chinese. They're very, very good at this.
Do we know for a fact it's them?
Oh, come on.
Well, I mean, I'm
Oh,
just...
It
Let me
goes
tell
like
you
this, like
something.
Rochambeau, Chinese, Russian.
Let me tell you
Chinese.
something. This is really funny. So
Okay,
the
please.
administration
I was-
wouldn't say who did it, right?
Yeah.
So guess who said it?
Who?
Guess who? It was
Harry-
Harry Reid.
Yeah.
Harry Reid just says, oh, by the way, the Chinese did this. So Susan Collins backed them up. But the administration still isn't saying. If Harry Reid hadn't,
So bigger,
We know that it's China.
Why won't they
Yeah.
point the? Are they afraid to point the finger at China? Are they afraid of
Yes,
retaliation?
yes, because and if the United
Why?
States retaliates, China has said that any retaliation by the United States will be considered an act of war against China. So they're sort of pinning us back like this, and it's a problem because they do have one of the most effective cyber warfare units in the world. I mean, only maybe the Russians can beat
no,
them.
we're good. We spy too.
Okay.
Don't think. Don't.
You know what else
I'm
they have?
sure
You know what
we-
else they have? Our debt. That's what they have.
Yeah, but they can't do
A
anything
lot of
about
it.
our debt.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be, they,
I don't know about
they
that.
play games with our debt. They would
Yeah, but
screw
we're in a
themselves
very
more than us.
vulnerable
But here's the
position
question:
because of that.
why are we always worried about other? Okay, so we have a good offense. We have a lot of information,
Yeah,
probably
we do.
on the Chinese, the Russians, whoever else is
Yeah,
spying
yeah,
on
yeah,
us.
yeah.
But why don't we build that defense? Why are we so vulnerable to all these?
Because
Yeah,
it's
but
hard.
countries?
It's
Korea,
really hard.
China, who else? Any
look,
comers like they can.
it's
they can
really
find their way in.
what it
In
ju-
my ear, breaking news, Chinese hackers are responsible for this. I just was told that. Sensitive information on military personnel.
Yeah,
So-
which is a huge problem. And they always target U.S. defense contractors, counterintelligence officers, so it puts us in a compromising position. They steal all our secrets. They're bad people. They don't like to pay for things. And then they steal it. They copy our F-35s. All of our, like for the nuclear submarines, to make them like
Right.
quieter, to avoid detection. They stole and copied that
Oh, yes.
technology. I mean, it's just embarrassing.
But the problem is, I mean, you guys miss. Isn't this really caused by global warming?
Yes.
Isn't it President Obama correct
Yes.
that the number one threat is global warming? Because global warming heats up China.
Well, China's building islands, Greg.
Yes.
I think that's the threat, too. They're creating global warming by building fake islands in the ocean, okay?
I had
That's
no
the
idea.
problem.
Here's Ian Bremmer. He was on, I guess this is Fox and Friends, right? Or FBN. FBN discussing the threat of China.
I think that the greatest danger and threat to the United States in the world today is absolutely coming from China. It's not ISIS. It's not what's happening in Iraq. The fact that you have the largest hack against the U.S. government in history, and it took us 4 months to be aware of it, is something that should be concerning every single American. What they're going to try to do, of course, is blackmail a whole bunch of people. They're going to try to find out who is most vulnerable to cash, who's most vulnerable to selective information that they can turn against the United States governments. I mean, every government tries to do this. The point is that China is going to be so much more effective when they're empowered with the kind of information that the U.S. never dreamed they'd actually have.
The only solution to this, vice amnesty. All of us, I mean, well, maybe a few, maybe you not, you accepted, can be that blackmailed. We can all be blackmailed, right?
Don't be so sure.
Yeah, I mean,
She just looks innocent.
You know.
Shouldn't we have some kind of weird vice amnesty where, like, if something comes out,
I'm on board.
Really, really worried.
Look at Bolling. He's like, where do I sign
Well,
up
you know,
for
the
that?
problem with Eric.
Notice
you
he's
know,
like, how do we know for sure it's China?
I was
take
going to
one.
say that the problem with Eric is that llama.
yes.
Yes, that
It
you were
wasn't
talking about
87,
earlier.
it's clearly 88.
yes, yes,
It
yes.
wasn't a
It's
llama,
good to know
it
the
was
Obama
more
administration is
than a llama.
watching the five. When we called them out for not pointing the finger at China
Yeah.
and said, hey, they're right, we better get in front of this.
Yeah,
I must say, Jim Comey, the FBI director, said, oh, gosh, there are two kinds of American companies. Companies that have been hacked and companies that don't know they've been hacked.
Right.
So that tells you everybody's been hacked. So it makes me think, like when I'm on email and I'm sending a lovely note to you, Gregory.
I know.
I have got to watch myself.
Oh, yeah, especially with your little pet phrases for me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
My emojis.
But what about that point
Didn't you
of the
call
question?
Bolling babe that time? That was weird.
He's babe. Isn't he a babe?
Just in terms of what we don't know, I mean, if they
Sure.
can hack into a personal database that is run by the government that has all this information, what happens when they hack into the electrical grid? Or when they hack into the transportation system or the system that runs the airplanes? I mean, that is a serious question. You don't think the Chinese don't want to do that?
No, I think they want to
come
dangle the information and say, here, we'll trade you. We won't go public with this, but you got to tell us what's
But
going
in
on.
long term, if it gets ugly, they
Katie,
certainly have that card
They're after the
to
money.
play.
They're after the patents. They're after which companies are reporting what. Those are the things that I don't think they're looking to blow us up.
Maybe
or have
not
our
today,
economy go down.
but down the road, they
The
certainly
Iranians,
will.
I would say absolutely. By the way, if the Chinese sell that information to anyone else, then we're screwed.
Yeah.
It's already for sale on the dark net. I'm so sorry to tell you.
Dark net? Is that some kind of hair
Right,
product?
People keep up, catch up. Okay,
Dark
no,
net.
that's big sexy.
For your roots.
Yeah.
I know what darknet is. Anyway, we used to worry about MSG.